Welcome back to Rivals Fight Night. It's episode 6. We've got chicks throwing stars and stuff in the sky at big fat guys who morph into things and climb on walls with their sticky feet like a little lemur from the zoo. And Avast is smiling from the road. He, by the way, is doing the first ever Rivals Fight Night production on a handheld. Are you able to hold up your setup, Avast?
It'll break it. Okay. It'll break it all. It would break it. I can't trust it.
For those,
let's just say it's jury.
Yeah. For those who don't understand the world of esports, we're always on the move. You don't know where you're gonna be, but when you have a passion project, you make it happen. Avast, can you tell us about your setup tonight before we break down Shikigami and Boom Crew?
You know that one XQC quote when it's like 6 consoles, 7 satellites? Essentially imagine that sort of mess on my desk all connected to one little handheld device via like 40 different USB hubs. So I'm going to hope it doesn't start an electrical fire and everything bursts into flames. ZP and I, we've had some issues with that at some other events we worked at. And I think that we're going to try to hopefully avoid that here. But other than that, you know, it's looking great. I've been moving all week and I'm ready to see some really fun teams, some exciting teams that we haven't yet had here in Fight Night.
It's going to be a great show. ZP, we got to talk about these teams, though. Break it down for me. What have you seen out of these two? Shikigami, a number of rosters, some of them stolen, some of them sold. Boom Crew on the other side, making their first appearance here on Rivals Fight Night.
Well, first off, I got to start with Boom Crew because it is their first appearance. They're not returning. And when we were doing invites for this week, this is a little bit of a rocky week for North America. A lot of teams were, had players that were out, players that were sick. Some teams were blowing up their rosters. It was a little bit of pandemonium. But one of the teams that came forward on recommendations from multiple teams, they said, no, we can't do it this week because of one reason or another, was Boom Crew, where teams were very, complimentary of them. And it's not just the fact that they had a great performance in MRC, going into the upper bracket before running into just the meat grinder that is 100 Thieves, but they're a team that a lot of people think has been on the rise. And you look at their style of play, they have great Winter Soldier play from players like Vibrato. They're not afraid to go Groot to Groot against a team like 100 Thieves with players like Monster. And for me, I'm excited to see how they play in a the Fight Night environment where they have a little bit more time to prep for the opposition, and it's a little bit more focused than a week-long tournament.
They won me over as a fan instantly with their logo. The second thing, though, that backed it up for me, Avast, Koodle, his full name is Koodle Noodle. All right? You're going to see that in game. Have fun with that tonight.
That is a very fun name. Personally, I was focusing more so on the Groot to Groot. Something about that just sounds wrong. I don't know what about it sounds wrong, but when ZP's like, they're going to go, they're not afraid to go Groot to Groot. I'm like, interesting. But and it's very true. This team, they have been
roots together tonight. For sure. Let's jump into their opposition. That's a look at the Boom Crew on the other side. Welcome back. You're going to see a fantastic breakdown here of Melophobia potentially popping off on the duelist role. Amadian, Crazemang, Scattergenji, Dinks, Ricky, they've been here before. Who's the player to watch tonight, though, ZP?
I think for me, I gotta look more towards Amadian and just see what they're able to do on the Hella. I think this is a team where you look at some of their competitive history, like there's a good amount of talent here. It didn't all come out in MRC from what I understand for like one reason or another, but this was a team that was back over in, MRI. And I think it's a team that, this is a good opportunity for them to kind of bounce back and have a good showing where, even if teams going into it, right, they go, it's difficult to beat 100 Thieves. If you have a good showing here, you get through the challenging match, against an up-and-coming team like Boom Crew, and then you have a good showing versus 100 Thieves, you really set a good tone for the upcoming competition that comes. So for me, we'll see what they can do.
Yeah, and Avast, I take a look at this, and we asked them, what are your favorite heroes to play? This is a pretty dive-friendly comp. Are we going to see actual dive coming out of NA teams tonight? Does a magic appear on Fight Night? And we're back. Rivals Fight Night had a little dance-off in the background. Now we're ready to party. It's Avast, it's ZP, and it's a whole lot of fun. The best teams in North America fighting for a chance to play against the reigning champs here on Fight Night. 100 Thieves, we're already into it. Boom Crew, Shikigami, ZP, Vibrato, doing work on that Winter Soldier.
Yeah, it was just like I was talking about in the intro of Avast before, all production PCs just blew up at the same time, is that Vibrato, definitely one to look out for here for Boom Crew. And the interesting thing here, too, the comp that they've come out with here on this first map, decided, we're gonna run with the storm. Forget the rocket comps instead. Do something a little bit more free flowing, at least.
And they're going Groot to Groot. Little Groot to Groot action, as you called out there in the beginning. And I think overall, like that, it's something to watch for Boom Crew. They've been around for a while. They're extremely aggressive. They're not afraid to play a little unconventionally with that rocket, but they're not doing it right now. Right now, ult's being traded, no one going down.
Yeah, Meteor M coming in from Lagva there early on. No one dying just yet, but Monster able again to scatter into the back. 6-on-5, now 6-on-4 for Boom Crew. So again, Shikigami trying to get in, getting repelled, and Madian says, maybe we can make something out of this. Does the Galactic Legend, picks up 2, and Shikigami Avest, not necessarily out of this fight yet, as Madian really sets things up.
Man, still have ults here for Boom Crew to stay. This is the stand on the point. The Omega Hurricane comes out, making sure to just get more out of the strategy. Try to get some more picks here. They're just going to force the invisible boundary. This is great for Boom Crew, considering they already have control. They're forcing more ults here out of the strategist, out of Shikigami.
Yeah, Shikigami right now, they're trying to make something off the hero ult from Madian, but Boom Crew being able to stabilize just a bit. Fraud not being able to brought down just in the moment for now. Focusing on damage onto the group, being healed up all the while. Both teams just changing a little bit of poke. Strangling Prison, though, in for Monsters. Fall Through going to be there. Forces out the fate of both worlds. So Shikigami all in on this fight. 90% right now for Boom Crew, and off the Luna ult, they're able to get 2 here, Vest.
Boom Crew, you could be really happy with this still. And that was a well-played setup from Boom Crew. They go for the Strangling Prison, trying to get that the pretty much that culling effect, get it down from the Kraken impact. But Shikigami, Scatter Genji makes sure to hit the bubbles, keeps everyone up, pretty much mitigates entirely the culling effect coming in from Boom Crew. But for Boom Crew, they're 98%. 98% here. So Shikigami, they're going to have to play really aggressively. They're going to have to use this route to split, to get value early. They need to get ults out of Boom Crew, and they need to build some more of their own. And that's what they need. That's really what they need.
That's really helpful. You get a pick in the neutral like that from Ricky, and you just look at the full retreat coming in from Boom Crew. Now for Boom Crew, it's just, okay, don't give up more staggers here and in the moment. Just back up a little bit and, recognize you still got a lot of progress to play with here. 30% only for Shikigami. This round has plenty of life left in it yet. But okay, when you lose Fraud like that early, that's real bad. And Shikigami really just taking advantage in the neutral now, Vast.
Right now, it's looking like the opposite of the crypto market. They lost the Fraud. They lost the Fraud, really. So overall, I think Boom Crew here having some struggles to get on out. They are building up to several different ults. They're about to have 5 ults on board here for Boom Crew. And this is the fight right here. This is the fight that determines this round ZP. There's going to be 5 ults versus 5 ults. Shikigami holding really aggressively. Boom Crew, they have a huge bank. If they invest a lot, they don't find one early. There it is. They need to get one through the culling effect.
We'll see if they can do that just now. Right now, no resets to be found. Galactic Legend, meanwhile, going to be used by Fraud. Looking for anything here on the side. Doesn't really have the best angle here just yet. Boom Crew, right now, moving on in. Vibrato, though, cracks it open, finds a Madian. Starts the first hit. Now can they get a little bit more? Scatter Genji, again, focused on down to Shikigami in hot retreat, buying a lot of time. But remember, if they lose this fight, they're still going to lose the round. And they get able to get 2 in the neutral right after that. Unbelievable from Shikigami. They retreat. They get a few pickoffs. Now Boom Crew might be down this first round.
That is exactly what you needed for Shikigami, because they make sure to get out the Strangling Prison late. Monster swapping over to the Strange, going to be going for the portal for them to touch. They do still have the Meteor Embers, can give them a little bit of sustain, give them a chance to burst through these ults here for Shikigami. But Shikigami, all they have to do is wait. They have to wait for the right moment here, try to force the Meteor Ember. Wait, they get the flip. They gave the flip here.
They give up the flip. They're more focused on the fight. Meteor M going to be used by Lagva here early on. Is it going to connect? No. Shikigami still in a decent spot. Madian, Galactic Legend soon to be fading. Hasn't picked up anything here just yet. Both teams relatively dreading ultimates, but Krasmang finds Monster early. Shikigami now on the 6v5. Boom Crew getting forced back. They get Krasmang in turn, but a Madian on the cleanup into the backline. Both teams trading back and forth. Vibrato's still in it. Still could be the hero here. Kraken Impact built up. I don't think there's going to be much restraint. Vibrato looking, waiting. Kraken Impact good to go. Could seal the deal right now for Boom Crew. As you see Vibrato looking around. The Madian strikes on the Koodle and takes down Vibrato before the Kraken Impact can even be used. That unbelievable from a Madian.
Also the hold here from Shikigami's strategist line. They hold on to both their strategists, so they have the Meteor. This fight's going to continue to go on, but now Shikigami, they can make it back with strategist as long as they don't all go down to Fraud. They can't all go down to Fraud here. They have to survive. They have to stay alive long enough for Ricky or Dinks to make it back anything. And they're going to make
right
it
now,
back.
Keeping it alive for Boom Crew. Invisible Boundary going to be popped here for Shikigami. And they hold on here, Vast, at the very end. But that was a wild first round where Shikigami, found a way back in after what was a very tough start. You don't often see teams come back from a 90% deficit, but if you're going to do it, Avast, you got to do it in the way Shikigami did just there. You push up and you win some neutral fights.
Yeah, I mean, and overall, just a lot of discipline, I would say, from the backline there for Shikigami, for Dinks and Ricky, holding on to those ults, going down in the OT fight, and then making sure to bring themselves back to win it there in the end. That's risky. That's a very big risk. It's one of those moments where, as a strategy, you're like, okay, am I going to pop it here? Am I just going to commit? Do we win the fight? Do I need to save it for something later? So I think the hold there might have paid dividends for Shikigami, and overall looked a lot better as the round went on, like you talked about, ZP. The neutral fight was really, really good for them. You look at the stats here. Relatively even across the board, yes. Shikigami obviously ahead in some of those stats, but definitely not a blowout across the board.
All right, second round. We'll see what Boom Crew has in store. A lot of people favoring Boom Crew coming on in because of their recent MRC performance, with Shikigami proven they still got it. Now, though, as we head into the next stage. Yeah.
They got that as well. But there is going to be the Fate of Both Worlds available for Dinks. So shouldn't be any immediate picks, just barring some misplays as pokes him coming out. We're just waiting for the first opener.
Who's going to drop the ult first? And it's going to be Dinks. Dinks just opens up Fate of Both Worlds. Boom Crew now likely to just try and retreat a little bit if they can. Still, you got Shikigami in hot pursuit, looking to see if they can get anything off of it. Galactic Legend now going to be used by Madian. In over the top, Boom Crew, though, able to handle it pretty well. Now they can turn things around with the Kraken Impact of their own. Fate of Both Worlds used. Vibrato, what do you got? Strangling Prison is going to be used. In with the Kraken Impact is Vibrato. Picks up one here so far. Going to the back, looking to do a little bit of tree chopping onto the Groot instead. Forced back is Shikigami. You see them come in with the Kraken Impact of their own. However, Days immediately just going to get crunched as Boom Crew keeps control.
Well played there from Murado. Just trying to use those cooldowns for the Winter Soldier to give himself the bonus health, stay alive as long as possible. And sure, they're going to go down late, but because of that combination there with the Strangling Prison for Monster, wins the fight a little bestly. As Boom Crew getting the early cap already 30%, holding on to the boundary, holding on to the meter rim. So they have a lot of options to mitigate some of the value coming out here from Kresmang. Shikigami, they need to make something happen. They need to try to find a pick, try to force a flank, because Boom Crew, they're in a really, really solid position here. They have plenty of ults to just mitigate this.
I do think they just opened with the Strangling Prison, but you can't when you die trying to set it up. Kresmang went in, couldn't find the right angle for the prison, instead just falls. And that completely set Shikigami back where, you know, Vast, if they want to take this round, we might have to repeat history and see the comeback from 90% again.
I would love to see it, but typically history, despite the fact that just happened last round, it's very, very hard to get the retake when you're down this much ult percentage, so, and this cap percentage in general. So Shikigami, they really need something to happen here, because if it's expensive, it's not going to go their way.
Meteor M from Lagva into the invisible boundary. Nothing going to happen there. Madian, Galactic Legend, now looking up and over, and that is going to fade. Shikigami right now looking for it. No, the Kraken Impact in from Days. Massive full cleanup, and Shikigami basically about on time his last round. Gonna get their first control at 85%. Can they do it again?
I mean, the problem here, though, is that, remember, I said it can't be too expensive in terms of the ult economy. That's 3 ults. 3 ults off the board, sure. They break it here, but Boom Crew about to have 3 of their own. And they have that huge amount of cap. They have a lot of time to work with here. So Shikigami, they need to look really good in the neutral again. Try to make these fights not super expensive. If there's a chance they can work through this cap time deficit that they have.
We'll see just how this one works out. Vibrato here, looking for a pull. Shikigami gonna need to be perfect here once again. Fraud kicking things off with the Galactic Legend. Gonna be answered in turn by the Meteor M. Meteor M used. A little bit of time left on the Galactic Legend. Fraud looking to the back line. Instead, Sportal going to be keeping people nice and healthy in turn. Dinks moving forward with the Fate of Both Worlds. Boom Crew, much the same. Monster, though, real close having Strangling Prison. It's going to be Prison versus Prison, but Deus hits first. Gets the Luna in the back. Velocity gone. Shikigami up 1. Both teams trading out ults. This would be super beneficial for Shikigami. They somehow end out on a head, and Madian looks to be the finisher. Drops the Galactic Legend over the top. They lose Dinks in the process, but Days, the Kraken impacts come out again and again.
Okay, they didn't make it cheap, but they made it really expensive and they equalized, and that's perfect for Shikigami because they stayed alive long enough to get those ults up. They traded perfectly. Days making sure to pop the Kraken Impact to set up a Madian to get those finishing limbs. And now Boom Crew are in trouble, ZP, here a little bit because another Strangling Prison about to be up Meteor not too far away. So Boom Crew have to make something happen here now, and ideally you look to Fraud. Fraud's about to have the Galactic Legend. There's not a strategy alive for Shikigami. Ideally for them, they either get a pick early or they live long enough to potentially find something. So Fraud is going to be the threat here for Boom Crew.
Meanwhile, Madian not holding back at all, going into backline with Blast Barrage. They lose Krasmang immediately, though. Fraud, not having any of it. Now going to the back. Galactic Legend active, looking for another pick to put this over the top for Boom Crew. They've taken out Scatter Genji. It's Shikigami down 2, now 3. And this may be ending with a bit of a whimper rather than a bang here, Avast. We'll see if Shikigami can contest again, or
TP's coming up.
Go next round.
Let's look for it. Here it is. TP's up. They do have the meteor to try to keep himself up a little bit longer, but immediately taken down, exploded. Now, no strategy up left. Will Ricky get one? Ricky has to get a strategy, has to get the invisible round with any chance. No, I think it's over here, ZP, and it's just gonna be cleanup.
Yeah, I mean, the portal recontest, not the most ideal this time around when your Magneto just gets instantly dropped. But it's gonna bring us to a round 3 where so far, both teams looking incredibly close. I mean, I just wonder, does Shikigami have it in them to start off the round with a win? Because they're not doing themselves any favors right now, Vast, where it's just, okay, guys, bring it back from 90 every single time so far.
Being down the deficit, not ideal. And also, you know what's even worse than that too, is that, I mean, we're coming into this first fight here with an ult deficit again. Another deficit for Shikigami. Boom Crew holding on to a lot of ults, 5 ults, except for Fraud, of course, who, once again, I called out at the end. Fraud's going to be the opener there. He's going to be one that breaks that point open there at the last fight, and he does. They didn't have the ult economy, they didn't have a pick, so they just made sure to set up Fraud, but the Galactic Legend gets tons of value using the shifts as well to mitigate the damage, to move around the map. So Fraud playing the role excellently. Shikigami, they really want to win the first fight here, because when you play on domination in general, ZP, first fight is such a tempo decider for the rest of the map, for the rest of the round.
Also, can we just admire the courage to name yourself Fraud in an esports game? Just knowing, just knowing what's going to be said if you're ever on the losing end. I mean, people they're not going to be generous, is all I'm going to say. So you got to have respect in your ability if you're going to name yourself Fraud. But here we go. Boom Crew, Shikigami, heading on out. Final round here in our first map. Boom Crew working with a substantial ultimate advantage.
Okay, a little bit of a wonky wall pull there right off the bat, as Galactic Legends used earlier. A lot of ults usually can dunk. Oh!
Massive, absolutely massive combination from Boom Crew, where they do drain a lot of their ult reserve here, Vast. Like, it was not cheap. It was well paid for. It was a luxury purchase, but yeah. Yeah,
luxury purchase. I mean, sometimes you gotta flex the Balenci a little bit, right? Like, you gotta show up and be like, okay, it's all good. Like, we're gonna win the first fight. It's so important domination. Get a little dunk of our own there. Perfect use for Monster and Lagva just combining there. And Shikigami now, I mean, the thing is, because they lost the fight, they committed ults of their own, they're not even really at an ult advantage. So they're still coming in here, relatively equal ult bank, and Boom Crew can play really aggressively. They can feel confident. As the hook right there on the days. Oh, it's perfect. So well played from Vibrato.
Yeah, you get the early hook, and you just see the almost comical, old school cartoon back up. It's like, immediately, everyone, leave, just get out. Not the start to the fight you wanted, but in the interim, you let Boom Crew build up their ults in turn. And what I was going to say before the hook here, Vass, is that I feel like a lot of the setup here, it does go to Krasmang for the Strangling Prison if a good one can be landed, but you can't give up a hook while you're going for it.
And ideally, it's a hard job here for the group, in particular for the group player, because also at this whole time, Lagva's going to be saving bulwarks. He's going to be saving bubbles to try to mitigate the culling effect factor here, because ideally you're trying to set up days with the Strangling Prison, maybe pop a Galactic Legend early to force a strategy ult. You see, there's the dance. Most Star Lords doing a little bit of dancing above them. One use.
Galactic Legend in from Fraud early to start off the fight here for Boom Crew. Meanwhile, Deus comes on in. Kraken Impact gets reset #1. Looking for more. The Meteor M to set the stage right after. It's a clean sweep coming in for Shikigami off the pack of the Bucky ult.
And that's exactly what they needed. It's what pressure on Krasmang there, where they saved it, they walked in, they go for the Strangling Prison to set up the Kraken Impact for days. Ideally there, if you're Boom Crew, Lagva gets more bubbles off, saves you from the effect, saves you from getting hit initially, but doesn't happen. Meteor gets used. Now Shikigami, they're in a pretty decent spot, but still a lot of cap time for Boom Crew, so they need to continue to make these fights not too super expensive or get an early pick.
We're gonna have Galactic Legend used here, and Madian again able to pierce the veil, find early picks, makes it 3 off the Galactic Legend. And just like that, that's the sort of economical fight you need to pull yourself back into it. And hey, I mean, for Shikigami, they're ahead of schedule here at Vast. They're used to coming back from 90%. This time it's only 77.
Working on not losing as fast in domination, boss, says Shikigami to the Shikigami owner. We're going to workshop that one. We're going to workshop that one. But overall, Shikigami, I mean, that's exactly what they needed, right? They did a great job. It was very inexpensive, but Boom Crew also went down really quickly. They didn't commit any more cooldowns to stay alive with the Galactic Legend, so they still have a lot of ults coming in here. Still have an ult advantage.
Yeah, I mean, they open up with the boundary. Ricky's right now trying to buy time, waiting for dropping it themselves. Now they drop it, and still, everyone's still up right now for Shikigami. The Kraken Impact used by Vibrato on the other side, and
that's exactly what they need.
Bad. Yeah, I mean, it's really
that's actually perfect
on the support ults. Because now Stratus are going to be able to use Luna ult, and they might not even need to with the pick on the monster. This could be really clean right now for Shikigami, and it's going to bring us to our final fight.
Extremely well played from Crazebang and Ricky. Like, you just called that out, ZP. They hit a really good time on the invisible boundary. The culling effect goes in from Vibrato, but they hit the force physics. They had the walls up to deny any of those effects. Remember, because that 20% culling effect means that you hit the 20% HP, immediate execution. So now Boom Crew has to make themselves back, have to walk back in, walk through the point against 4 ults for Shikigami. It's a really, really hard fight here for Boom Crew.
Yeah, and what's going to happen? Amadian's going to open the Galactic Legend, but the real threat is going to be the prison into Kraken Impact. Here we go. Everything on the board for both teams. And it's massive. Vast from Shikigami. The Meteor M with the Kraken Impact right after, completely eviscerating Boom Crew. This is an overtime. Shikigami playing for the first map win. Boom Crew taking on down, and it's Shikigami defying expectations, getting map 1, and maybe bankrupting some people on channel points, because for a lot of people, this was not expected as our opening here today.
That's why they call them the Boom Crew, because they boom your portfolio. It's over. Okay, but I think overall, Rivals, if there's anything that the Rivals Fight Night can show you, is that you could lose it all in an instant. Don't stop betting. No, never stop betting on the channel points. And really, I have to give a lot of credit to the front line. And really just overall the supportive elements of Shikigami. Yes, the Duelist, Amadian, yeah, I mean, Days, they looked really good. But that last round right there, Crazebang again, not only did they mitigate the value from that combo from Boom Crew, but then he sets it up for Scatter Genji in that following fight.
Amazing stuff. Big shout out to everyone behind the scenes. We had a lightning strike. We got the show back up and running, and we are already underway with our challengers match. 1-0 Shikigami after a very tight opener. ZP, now you're the Boom Crew. You had control during some of those rounds. You let them go towards the end of those rounds. You can't do it in game 2. Where do you go?
Where do you bring it right now? I mean, truthfully, I think with how well it started, I think you might just bring it right back over the domination. You go, okay, let's just not throw leads after we have them, because a lot of the opening was good for Boom Crew. They were able to set the pace in the neutral at the beginning, but every time they had Shikigami at death's door, they just weren't able to finish the job effectively here, Puckett. And to me, I don't know if it's nerves or experience or what, but it didn't seem like a lack of talent. It just seemed like the execution was a little bit lacking. And I think the number one thing you can do here is just run it back again. Get your confidence back.
Yeah, Vast, I think you know how it is. We're all waiting for Europe to finish. Finally, you get called up to the broadcast. You and ZP were waiting in the wings. Players just need a little time to warm up, right? Now it's game time. Game 2 is for real. First one was just free.
I mean, that could definitely be a part of it. I'm giving Shikigami a lot of credit, though. I know they're the underdog. I really did like how they played in that map overall. I wouldn't be surprised to see maybe like a Path of Yggdrasil potentially come out if you want to keep playing a lot of Groot. If Boom Crew feels really confident in playing Groot, that's a great Groot map. But it kind of just depends, because Shikigami looked really good on the mirror of the Groot themselves. So there kind of has to be maybe something unexpected thrown in the mix. And it could be the warm-up factor, could be the nerves factor, right? But we can't know. We can't know. So right now, if you're a Shikigami head, a Shiki head, like, this is your moment, okay? This is your moment to rise and to get the channel points.
Shiki heads rise up in the chat right now with a Vast. We are 2 games away from moving on to a championship match against 100 Thieves. Boom Crew looking to answer back. They'll be selecting our map in just a moment. And shout out to our producers on the highlight side. You already saw some slow motion whales. How about some slow motion whales? My man, Vibrato, the opening rounds. We even saw a storm in action. NA's getting weird early, ZP.
Yeah, I mean, NA seen some different looks, and I mean, look, the storm was not fraudulent when it came out. Fraud came out, got a great opening, and yeah, they may have swapped up after, but the opening worked out. The problem that Boom Crew kept dealing with, though, was Amadian getting ridiculous value on the Star-Lord in the neutral at times, and then when Ultimate Economy did come into play, Crazebang was setting up Deus constantly with great prisons into impacts from the Bucky. And the overall alt economy execution for Shikigami, I think, actually was a key difference here between the two teams.
Agreed. 100% agreed. I really loved how Shikigami played this, and like, they played great across the board. but definitely a bit of an ult economy disadvantage at times comparatively for Boom Crew here, which is a team, like, we talked about them a lot, how they've been around a while, and like, oh, we can't wait to see them. This is a team with the very mechanically gifted players. But, you know, this is a very young scene. This is a scene that's continually evolving here for Marvel Rivals, and there's going to be teams that are getting better and better almost exponentially every day. I mean, compare the start of any esport at its inception versus like a year, 2 years in, right? And we're dealing with like a very non-linear progression of these squads.
It all changes after tonight. Expect every team to go out and try and find themselves a Hulk main. The ban and protects are going to include a lot of Namors and Hulks, I have a feeling. Let's take a look, though, at the impact players in this matchup. I have a feeling it might come down to the Magnetos. Scatter Genji going up against Lagva. Who had the edge in the opening round? Was it easy to tell? I know we're watching 12 players at once, CP.
You know, between the two, this felt like one of those rare cases where the Magnetos were almost, passengers of fate of what was going on with the overall economy of the game and particularly the duelist play, right? But, you know, at times, I would say more Scatter Genji, where you think about the ultimate execution, the Meteor M's coming out from Scatter Genji is just a little bit better, a little bit more well-timed, but it was also such a team effort at the same time that it's hard to be like, this Magneto versus this one. I feel like the Magnetos for once were just going, this is an interesting game that's going on here.
Yeah, pretty fun stuff. Catch a Ricky every once in a while, and Boom Crew is going to be happy. Let's jump into game number 2. We're going to the Spider Islands. This, of course, is going to be Boom Crew's selection, so it should be Shikigami up on the ban first of Vast.
Now, this is an interesting map, again, because it's another pretty strong group map if they choose to do that. You know, we've also seen a lot of, like, standard compositions. We've seen a lot of, like, Thing, Magneto. So there is a lot of opportunity to kind of change how you want to play here. I can't really lock into anything yet. Like, what are we likely going to see? Both these teams have played a variety of different comps throughout their time. So it leaves a lot of opportunity open. I think the most exciting part here is, was Domination more so just like a tempo, right? Yeah. Like, was this something that they looked really good in the ult economy, and Domination kind of really heavily prioritized the fact that, like, if you win very key fights, it's a lot easier to snowball comparatively some of the other game modes. So this is going to be kind of a test here for Shikigami of like, okay, are they Domination merchants? Are they not? Are they, how well-rounded are they?
ZP, as we wrap up Season 1, we have to reminisce on the greatest alt combos. What were your favorites that were frequenting your matchups?
Can I say it wasn't even a combo, but it was just the combination of Jeff's ult with the edge of the map that we saw in EU.
Gravity and Jeff.
Yes. I mean, the fact that got pulled off was good, but okay, Hello Band coming in, and
they're just saying no hit scan. Get it out.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the reason for this is just the fact that Boom Crew, even in the match versus 100 Thieves, right? They just don't want to run the Hella matchups whatsoever. I think for Shikigami, players like Amadian are a big threat, so I think they're just recognizing we don't want to go down that path.
I think it's a Star-Lord protect. Like, they really are trying to get a Star-Lord advantage from Boom Crew. I lied. All right, they're going Winter Soldier. I'll shut up. Go ahead, Avast.
I mean, it doesn't predict anything necessarily. Star-Lord could theoretically still be played even without the Adam Warlock. I mean, there's still Luna Snow on the field. Well, never mind. No Luna Snow, which means Namor is probably off the table. And with Namor off the table, that still means that Star-Lord's still potentially played, right? Even without the Adam Warlock. So it's kind of a question of, does Shikigami make an impact ban here? Is there something that's really going to define the meta? Because right now, you look at this, and in my mind's eye, it's like, okay, Magneto, Groot,
get rid of the Rocket.
Like, it's... Rocket could be fun. I mean, especially, you practice... I mean, Loki being gone, that screams to me a little bit Rocket. Loki gone, they have Luna gone, Adam's gone, that's triple strategist banned. And especially with, like, as we come into Season 2, there's going to be all those Rocket changes with his ult, where he's, providing bonus health as well and reducing the overall damage bonus.
A real healer.
Boost. Like, yeah, a real healer there. So, I mean, this could be a good chance also to keep practicing your Rocket gameplay. As I fend off my cats. So hopefully they're not going to jump in my lap right now. But I think that this is going to be a Rocket moment.
We love our furry friends here on Rivals Fight Night. If you have an animal, post it on Twitter. I dare you, at Rivals RFN. We're on Twitter. That's my way of, like, letting you know that we're on Twitter, and you can follow us there so you can catch future broadcasts. For now, though, we jump into game number 2. Spider Islands. Can Boom Crew drop the hammer and tie things up? Let's jump in with Avast and ZP on the mic.
And, coming into this, I am curious to see what changes we get out of Boom Crew here, Avast, because, again, you think back to map 1, it felt like Boom Crew came in and, whether it be from the neutral play or just, raw mechanics, they looked better. But then when it came to experience and how to handle your advantage, oh man, Shikigami just completely took the game back away. But, thinking what they like playing, it's probably going to be Rocket all day long for Boom Crew here. Can't say it'll necessarily be the same for Shikigami, but I think for Boom Crew, they do love Buff and Vibrato.
They really do. I mean, if you're going to send the pet photos over, just send them, it's really rivals Cat Knight, perhaps, if anything. But Boom Crew here, pushing forward, continuing to use the aura here from Fraud on the Storm, trying to just make sure to get the most out of these really high ceilings, using the Aura of Thunder, the Aura of Tornado to move really quickly. There's a lot of poke going on.
It really helps in the neutral game, and also I just think this is a great opening area for Storm if you have a great Storm. I mean, the sight lines are fantastic, and I mean, it's just elementary here. Boom Crew gets a few early picks, moves forward, and before ultimates come into play, they are great. And on top of it, look at the ult build from Vibrato, powered up by the Infinite Grit, coming in from Velocity. I mean, he's ready to explode on the next fight of Ast.
And interestingly enough, I mean, with the Cloak and Dagger of Shikigami not trying to match the Rocket Crew on their own, is immediately going to drop the Kraken Impact. I mean, this should just clean it up right here, barring something crazy.
I mean, you kill the Groot immediately, things just go from bad to worse. However, Fraud taken down. Strangling Prison can be used here by Monster. Boom Crew deciding to invest a little bit of their newly acquired currency to make this fight a little bit easier. Fraud cleaning up the skies, and I'll say this for Shikigami. They're buying time even in a losing fight right now, Vast. The convoy is not actually moving.
I mean, I'm going to be honest. I think Shikigami probably should have stopped investing. It's time to stop buying the dip and maybe hold a little bit of liquid, because the problem here with Shikigami is that they committed the invisible boundary there as well from Ricky, so they don't have any strategy ults coming into this fight. So there's an Omega Hurricane. There's going to be, they also, I mean, Boom Crew has an invisible boundary of their own. So there's a lot of options here for Boom Crew, who's already in a very strong position to immediately get picks. So Shikigami's going to need something to happen here. Ideally, like a big Eye of Agamotto, maybe set up a Meteor M.
Well, they go on in. They start with the Strangling Prison. Eye of Agamotto still on deck. Boom Crew responding in turn with the Mega Hurricane and Invisible Boundary, looking to cool things down. Now Shikigami, the boundary is gone. Eye of Agamotto coming on in from Scattered Genji. Is Flop going to be there? They got one here so far. Dinks getting Medium with the BRB. Velocity, much the same on the Fraud. Both teams still in the fight, contesting to and fro. Scattered Genji right now, looking for a counterpart on the other end. Fraud was able to get down Krasmang. Big pick here from Boom Crew as they try and get this first point. Monster, though, dropping Strangling Prison, and that should secure it.
Shikigami, I mean, they're making use out of this triple Vanguard comp that they're running, so they have a big health pool. They're making sure to have the Agamotto keep the fight running as long as possible. The problem is they just didn't have the damage, right? They already had a disadvantage because they had to pop all their bubbles very early from Scattered Genji just to mitigate some of the Omega Hurricane. So Boom Crew using their ults really well. They have the Tempo ult as well with the CYA up again for Velocity as they've swapped to Psylocke here, which I actually really like here for Fraud, because with the Psylocke, you can take the opportunity to just use this really, really long second point, this really open second point, to try to find picks on the back line.
I think the swap to Psylocke is good here too, because Storm Valley does start going down, but Krasmang down, Vibrato making the most of this Rocket Raccoon team up. Now Krasmang is brought back on in, but you look at the momentum Boom Crew has right now. They're able to move forward, push Shikigami back, force retreat, set themselves up right now, Avast, for one fight into second.
And here's the issue still with Shikigami, is that this is the fight they really need to win, because like their ults are up. They have a relatively equivalent ult bank with Boom Crew. They lose here. They probably lose second bar in a great return as Galactic Legend used early.
Super early Galactic Legend, but pays dividends. Velocity, first one down. No BRBs coming out of that one. Shikigami now at 6v5. Invisible Boundary burn from Boom Crew. They have a Dance of Butterfly, Strangled Prison in reserve. And they're going to pop it. The Dance of Butterfly comes on in. That takes down the opposing Rocket. But Shikigami still working with bit momentum. However, Vibrato able to shut down a Median into the backline. Still a winnable fight for Boom Crew, especially with Monster back into the fray. You're going to see Boom Crew now come on up and over.
Oh, no. Monster popping the Strengthened Prison, getting force physics, they're walled off, gets no value whatsoever, trying to catch those stragglers from Shikigami, and now Boom Crew in a really bad situation. Shikigami, they have good ults. A lot of the pressure is going to be on Vibrato here to maybe hit a huge Kraken impact.
Meteor M coming out, lots of room to work with.
That won't happen.
Vibrato down, and the Groot right on after. Day's going to clean up the rest. So that easy solidification there for Shikigami off the whiff on the Strangling Prison.
And I'm not totally sure if it was because we were a little bit off camera there, if it was a total whip or if it was a force physics as well from Ricky, just making sure that Monster didn't get any value or even just a wall. But whatever they did, it worked massively there for Shikigami, and also pretty easy to remove the pressure from Vibrato. I guess if you just get a limbed, if you just fall over, I mean, that removes a lot of the pressure from you to pop the ult. Well, as Boom Crew now coming on in, about to have 5 ults of their own. This needs to be the fight for them if they want to break open second point, because they do have a very strong ult bank.
Shikigami looking to stop Boom Crew here and now. Minute 30 left here on second. Meteor M going to be used here early by Lagva. Looking and looking. Madian, meanwhile, Galactic Legend has been burned. Visual boundary in from Boom Crew now as they look to set the stage of battle. We'll be slowing things down with the Sia. Both teams have used visual boundary. Ricky getting lower and lower as Vibrato able to take him down. However, BRB brings him right back in. Vibrato, though, not done yet. Scatter Genji out. Boom Crew making an opening here. There's the Fraud going in deep. Ends up getting
perfect. The walls are perfect. The walls are perfect from Krasmeg. Playing the corner. Fraud goes for it. Krasmeg can't go down. He's bunkering up. He's unkillable. They can't get rid of this guy. The actual, I mean, it's just weeds. It's weeds here. Groot is weed cosplaying.
Unbelievable. Krasmeg able to keep Shikigami into the fight. Monster. Strangled Prison is built up, but Boom Crew right now still trying to kind of re-solidify. Strange Portal coming on out. Strangled Prison almost out here for Krasmeg. Sia is used. Shikigami looking to make their move right now. Counter Sia gonna be out here from Boom Crew, but now we're looking at Krasmeg. The wall's been great. The Prison coming on out, sets up Dez for the kill on the Vibrato.
It's so good.
And now they get even more of Avast. It's massive.
I mean, Krasmeg putting on a Groot masterclass. And there's talked about a lot how this is why Groot is so good, especially in the right hands. There's going to be a late stagger pick here as well. Vibrato's going to go down late. They're not going to have Vibrato for the recontest. They're going to be swapping here, trying to touch last second for Boom Crew. But the problem is, like, who is going to Strange? Who's going to Strange? No one wants to swap. They're going putting Velocity here onto Jeff to try to speed bubble back because they don't want to lose their ults. It's not worth it. They're just losing it early.
The run into walls, literally and figuratively, courtesy of Krasmeg, just crushing in the neutral, landing great walls back and forth, setting up Shikigami for this hold right before second. And now you have to wonder if you're Boom Crew, you don't mind, playing Groot yourself, but if you lose this map, maybe you get rid of the Groot heading into map 3 because there has been a difference here, Avast.
The Shika-Groot. The Shika-Groot play has been really good. I mean, I talked about the impact of this Vanguard line for Shikigami, and Krasmeg, they're putting on one of the best Groot plays we've seen, I think, in competitive Marvel Rivals overall. Like, there's definitely been a lot of high-impact Groot players across the board in the EU, whether you go to, like, Nevix, whether you obviously see, look at Vinny on 100 Thieves. Like, Groot is a very high-impact tank, or rather Vanguard, and this is clearly another moment where it shows, because they just bunkered up, played the wall, built the death trap there where anyone came close, got hit with the Thorn Lash, that passive for Groot, just doing all that extra damage, getting the extra health as well from the Iron Bark. So, I mean, just have to give a lot of credit to Krasmeg.
Iron Bark aside, a quick update from the chat. It's a Vibrato, not Vibrato, unless CP is right.
Vibrato.
Like the last time we told him it wasn't Oblivione, and then it actually was Oblivione.
I'm going to go live chat here, but let me tell you.
Krasmeg, let us know in the chat. I'll be right back.
I'm gonna be honest, if I get gaslit a second time, it's gonna be rough. I'm gonna question all reality, but what they'll say here, the real deep cut that we're getting from Chad here, Avast, someone just said the evil toaster. That's how far back
evil toast. That is a very deep cut. The lore heads are eaten with that one for sure. Extremely deep cut. Shikigami getting their packs here from Dinks. Just getting ready to set on up. And looks like they're playing, they're not doing the triple Vanguard, but instead putting Scatter Genji here onto the on the Strange pretty early, keeping the Groot. So they're gonna have that shield, they're gonna have some of that high ground control, the portal. So pretty interesting composition coming out for Shikigami. Very poke heavy, but also with
danger. Magva's dead. Amadian able to win that in the neutral, and already 2 quick kills here for Shikigami, bringing it to Boom Crew on the first point. This is even a quicker wipeout than we saw Boom Crew to the Shikigami just a round to go.
A little extra oomph.
Once again, I mean, both these teams utilizing the Storm here to get a lot of value from the Aura is, okay, they're dropping the portals in the spawn. Where are they going? What are they trying to do? Are they setting up behind, or were they trying to counter portal? It looks like they might have been trying to counter portal Lagva. That's exactly what they did. So Lagva was too afraid to drop a portal because they were making sure to save it there for Scatter Genji. So they're just going to swap. They're going to come on back. So a little bit of head games here as you see as the meta's evolved. Doctor Strange portal games, it's like breaking the Enigma code. Like everyone is playing extreme mind games with this.
Yeah, I mean, unless you're in Europe, where Finzi just locks teams down with the portal, no questions asked. But here we go. Boom Crew looking to test here at the apex of the first point. Monster, early strangling prison going to be used. Shikigami just able to back on out. Now Mega Hurricane in from Madian into the backline, forces out the invisible boundary in turn. Going to quiet things down just a little bit. Second invisible boundary going to go down here from Noodle. So look here, the Monster looking for an opening. Both teams still at full strength here so far. A Madian though, able to get in with Daze. And it's not going to be enough. The BRB gets Noodle back up, but it's very much in Shikigami's favor here, Vast, as they're looking to just cruise into the final part of point A.
And you see the impact there again from Daze. I mean, Daze on the Wolverine, removing Monster from the fight. I mean, took him away. Far away. Got him out of the invisible boundary. No wall value getting got. They made sure to save Krasmang's Strangling Prison there so they could pop with the CYA with Dinks just to burn through them post-strategy ults. So now Shikigami holding on to first. They still have the Eye of Agamotto. I mean, they have some options here because there's no strategy ults again for Boom Crew. No strategy ults, so they can get in there, pop a good Eye of Agamotto, just find one even. That breaks the whole fight open.
So they're going to be able to get here. Shikigami right now working through the side. Scatter Genji. Eye of Agamotto, good to go. Convoy moving up all the while. It's more on Boom Crew to engage right now, Vast here. Shikigami is more than okay to just sit back, poke, get a little bit of progress. But now Scatter Genji coming in over the top.
Oh, the fourth physics.
Agamotto right over the top. Is the fall through going to be? There it is. Lagva immediately going down. Shikigami, clean 6-on-5. Well, BRB makes a 6v6, but the momentum is on their side. They're moving on forward. They're trying to take down Monster. Monster has Strangling Prison in tow, can drop in response, but they lose Fraud, Madian, Galactic Legend to the side. Opens things up even more here for Shikigami. Boom Crew, they're going to drop the invisible boundary in turn here, Vest. Try and get low stabilization, but it's simply not happening.
And Krasmang getting another Strangling Prison, getting some value there. There should be some late value. Yes, they're going to be a for Krasmang as well. And just so much value from Scatter Genji there, just forcing them to play a little bit passively, getting all those cooldowns early from the Eye of Agamotto, sets up the next round of ults here for Shikigami. Now, about to have the last stand for Daze. There is going to be something for Boom Crew, but they don't have to touch. They can't.
Yeah, I think that was less of a Charlie Niner and more of a you just couldn't touch sort of moment there. Unbelievable. Shikigami coming on in and going was like, oh, you guys were down us at the beginning. Who's booming who?
I'm boomed. I'm boomed, honestly, just because I think this is an incredible Shikigami performance. And Boom Crew, I expect it to be competitive, but like it's not looking super competitive currently. It's looking like Shikigami are playing on a masterclass, in particular on their Vanguard line. So Boom Crew needs more to happen across the board. I can't even point towards the individual points where it's not looking good. Like we looked at like the ult banks, we looked at just the overall general picks. Like they're just not seeing enough happen across the board here. And Shikigami looking great. I mean, just look at the differences here when you comparatively to just like the overall frags, the overall limbs, the deaths. Like it's just a very strong stat line.
Yeah, and Shikigami known for going up 2-0. But folding in the past, ZP. Reverse sweep cannot happen tonight. But honestly, I don't think it's going to happen. If you allow these same comps in, there is a Groot difference. The bigger roots belonging to Krasmang throughout the first 2 rounds. Boom Crew, where do you take us next? We have to wait and find out. First, the highlights, though. And I have to ask, are we going to see Storm all night? Can you even shut her down, Avast?
I mean, you definitely can. There's a lot of options. I think just as the team's playing her very tactically, just to play certain around the corners, because typically they're going to be swapping. You know, a little bit later, you don't see her played like full time necessarily. You're like, okay, we're going to play in areas where Storm's going to get a lot of value with the aura, then swap where we get to a little bit of a more wide open point. But Storm definitely brings a lot of, I think, versatility and a little bit of burst for teams that are looking to make a statement.
Psylocke coming in for Fraud. You
Look at that
Storm swap, and then I was gonna say, ZP, walk me through some of the big moments here in OT.
I mean, in OT, what we just saw was continual control coming out from Shikigami. I mean, obviously, we just saw some of the wall play coming in from Krasmang, but Boom Crew just felt like they got stuck in a cycle where they'd lose someone and then they'd throw good money after bad with their ultimates, and things would just get rougher and rougher over time. Although I think a lot of that was just Shikigami. I mean, we need to give a little bit more love to the strategist side too. I mean, the invisible boundary time from Ricky, just riding the edge over and over again of how long can I wait till I put this down? Waits just the right amount of time, gets it down, saves the team in turn. And also, just a note on the Storm play that we're seeing, I think the Storm play is also in part a consequence of the fact that Hell has been banned every map. So, the skies are a little bit clearer when you don't have to worry about a dagger taking you out of the sky every 2 seconds.
We want to give a big shout out to everyone who has found the stream. Yes, we restarted it for North America. Yes, we're currently in the Challengers match. Yes, Shikigami is on match point. What happens if they win? Well, they go play 100 Thieves, and that would be coming up in a few moments. But first, while we're waiting on Game 3 to be sorted out and our players to do their bans and protects, do us a favor. Drop the follow button, hit that subscribe. If you have a Prime, you got a free sub. Why not invest on your favorite show every Thursday night? Pay the people behind the scenes who clip the clips, who press the buttons, who touch the switches. ZP just staring at Venom ass all night long. Look at this, guys. I've just been eyeing him. Sure. I've been keeping watch. ZP, my guy. We got to get you another poster.
Yeah, I know. Well, actually, I've been switching it up. Like, people have noticed, it's just like the Venom goes in and out. Like right now, it's back to Luna, but when you're not looking, it's gonna go back to Venom. It's just a little bit of production wizardry that I'm actually controlling. Not even the main production. I have the power.
Production within a production.
Yeah.
Avast casting from a Nintendo Switch. ZP doing his own show within the show. We're going to the path. Avast, get me excited.
I mean, I see Path of Yggdrasil, and if you want to see more Groot play, this is a very good map for Groot if they want to continue to play it. But I feel like Boom Crew, they have to be getting tired of getting beaten by Krasman Groot at this point. So maybe they look to make a swap. If they're feeling really confident, they can continue it. So overall, if you're a fan of Groot, then this is going to be a very nice path to do so, a very nice option. So it just depends on what Boom Crew really wants to prioritize. I think it's going to be up to them to kind of like make the tempo change up how they're going to play here.
All right, Boom Crew once again removing the Hela. On the other side, we've seen the Loki and Adam banned each time. Shikigami has protected a Groot and a Luna. I think Groot's going to be the protector. Yes, sir.
Yep.
And on the other side, Star-Lord, more of an impact than Winter Soldier, you think, ZP?
I think Star-Lord has been a huge impact when they play it. The problem is it's been more of an impact for Shikigami. So if you're Boom Crew, okay, they decide, okay, we're gonna protect Warlock and we want to do more Star-Lord, perhaps for Star-Lord. It's what they're signaling off here. Now, if you're Shikigami, the question is, do you ban?
No more. I love this.
Yeah, Namora's not going to play. Do you ban the Star-Lord in turn, just not give Boom Crew what they want, even though Amadian has looked incredible on the Star-Lord? Do you play to your strengths or do you hurt your enemy? And they get rid of Mantis, and that will really hurt a triple strategist setup.
Heroes could make all the difference.
The no Mantis. I'm trying to think of the big impact here. If I'm Star-Lord, I'm still vibing, right? I got my cocoon. I'm still going to get my Galactic Legend nonstop. There's no Hela to hurt me. There's really no Luna that can freeze me or cause me damage. Avast, what stops a Star-Lord in this scenario for all of us Diamond, low GM players?
I mean, you can look to a fellow Star-Lord, perhaps. You've seen a lot of duels, more than likely. Realistically, without a Luna, you don't have that idle aura either to give the snowflake. So unless you're playing a very heavy dive setup, expect to see a lot of Star-Lord duels because, like we talked about, there's not going to be a Mantis. We're not going to be seeing the Hela to shoot them out of the sky. Bucky can. I mean, Winter Soldier can do a little bit of mitigation, and even Rocket Raccoon. But realistically, it's going to be, if they're playing Star-Lord, you'll probably see Star-Lord. Boom Crew can make it a stylistic choice, which you kind of see here, Fraud hovering over it. They could choose to play the Storm again to try to play a more Death Ball style. So we're going to use the aura, play really aggressively, maybe ignore the Star-Lord a bit. But I just don't think that's going to happen. I wouldn't be shocked if they just keep playing, just mirroring the Star-Lord. We're just going to see a lot of Star-Lord duels.
3, 2, 1.
Well, Dust, we're going into it, and it's going to be Shikigami here on the defense first. Krasmag, no surprise, on the Groot. Groot battles continuing all day long. But now we'll see how this first fight goes. If Boom Crew can lock in with their tournament life on the line. If they don't win this map, they will not be gaining the right to go against 100 Thieves and get their upper bracket rematch. But here we go.
What a good wall. The walls are really good here from Krasmag. Again, when you watch him, when you see how it goes, it's Amadian, though, getting caught.
Yeah, a little bit of difference here, but BRB going to bring Amadian back in, but Vibrato able to get down Krasmang right away. Again, buffed on up by the Rocket. And Boom Crew right now, slowly but surely moving on in. Another nice hook. Might result in Magneto falling here. Keeping up the pressure. Scout Genji gonna go down. And off this Winter Soldier play, Boom Crew looking a little bit renewed and rejuvenated.
Yeah, and if there's one thing that can still work consistently right now in Season 1 meta against a counter to kind of everything, it still is Winter Soldier. Sometimes you just need that extra damage, you hit the hook, and it'll guarantee some picks there. Shikigami looks like they still want to go for the recontest. Coming on in.
Looking on in, invisible boundary gonna get dropped. Fraud right now. Galactic Legend good to go as soon as the boundary impact is gone. Canadian is already out of the fight. Meteor M gonna be used. Vibrato, Kraken impact over and in. Ricky down, reset gained. 2 right now, make it 3. And the first point, often hard to cap, will be Boom Crew's.
Yo, did you guys see how I stole his highlight? Put my name up there with a sub. You guys can do the same thing. All you got to do is use your prime.
That's actually such a good way to sell it. Is that, guys, what if we just block and just steal the glory from all the players and just do subs and donations only? That's so smart. That's so smart here.
Well, also, Puckett is cheating on that though, because like Puckett can time it with the real-time feed, whereas the actual feed has a delay. So you actually have to like see the future a little bit to do it as a viewer. But it's still a good idea if you want to steal the glory. But here we go. What we're gonna get right now is
ZP hates money. Fire this guy, Hex.
ZP hates money. I'm just being realistic.
Get it trending. ZP hates money. Get it trending.
Oh my goodness. Wow, we got a baby coming on in. Blaster barrage for Shikigami as they try to recover, get a little bit of stability, just as I try to recover a little bit of stability in the cast. Sia though, potentially about to come out here from Velocity and Madian again, super low, gets healed back up in time. Blaster barrage back onto the convoy. Monster able to take down Krasmang. And Boom Crew right now, look, it's still looking way better at Vast.
And on top of that, they got no value. Shikigami got absolutely 0 value there from Krasmang's Strangling Prison. So that means that Boom Crew picks up this fight win. They're gonna have 4 ults. They didn't have to use Monster Strangling Prison. They hold on to Strand. I mean, that's one of the best possible fights they're gonna have for Boom Crew there on second in that situation. Is pretty much someone that's been historically very impactful with their ults. Krasmang getting absolutely nothing, completely mitigated. So Shikigami, they're going to look for the Riki test. They do have a decently solid ult bank, but it's just so hard to get back in here when you're playing into the group for the retake. They need to have someone touch. It's going to be a Madian just coming on in there with the proposals. The
Madian drops on in. They use the invisible barrier, and it's already over. Ricky getting demolished. Vibrato able to just drop the Kraken impact and immediately removes the angle of contest from the fight. It's going to be point to the Boom Crew. Where was this team the last 2 maps have asked?
A really, really good question. A very good question. However, for Shikigami, like, yes, Boom Crew are looking back. They're looking stronger. That was a relatively cheap fight for them, right? You only use the Invisible Boundary for Ricky. You get some ults out of Boom Crew. For Boom Crew, you're really happy because your tempo is great. You can fight really aggressively here. But Shikigami, this should be their chance to turn it around here. And they ideally also don't want to have to invest too much.
There we go. Galactic Legend going to be used by Fraud here in the back. Meteor M out from Scatter Genji in response, and it just takes down Vibrato right where he stands. BRB bring him right back into the fray. However, Deus looking to fall through. Kraken impact with 2. Moving on forward to Shikigami, showing signs of life here on third. Ricky, a little bit of help on the execution at the end.
And that's what Shikigami you definitely wanted to see, but relatively expensive. I mean, that was a lot of ults invested. Sure, you're going to get Boundary again. You're going to have the Strengthening Prison. This is their moment for Krasmang to get a very, very high impact ult. Not a lot of strategies across the board for Boom Crew. I mean, to be fair, Koodle Noodle about to have the invisible boundary. So actually going to be a bit of a race. Probably going to look to trade out, force the strategy ult here.
Oh.
And that's exactly what they're going to do. They don't use it. They hold it.
President for Krasmang. Yeah, right before it could be built, just drops it from afar, sets up for 2 quick eliminations, and just like that, the hot retreat coming on in. So Krasmang, right place, right time with the Prison of Vest, and this is really getting Shikigami back into the round where Boom Crew was at one point just running away with it.
For Boom Crew, though, you can be happy because that's a relatively fast fight loss. You hold on to the boundary here. You know there's no Strengthening Prison. They need to be watching for a Madian. That's exactly what's going to happen. They're going to look to set up, but they're already down days.
Madian dropping the Galactic Legend, however, having to work around the invisible boundary, and just gets dropped. Vibrato over and in. Now dropping the Kraken impact. Resets not yet to be found here so far. Hard to see much with the dueling invisible boundaries. But what we have to know, Boom Crew able to get a few more eliminations in the chaos. And now Avast, 2 minutes, 40 seconds left, a lot of time left, and not far to go.
Now or never.
And Shikigami's bank here looking pretty strong. I mean, the invisible boundary doing a lot of work there for Koodle, making sure to not just keep everyone up, but also denied the LOS to make sure that a Madian couldn't get healed when that Galactic Legend went in, which was so important. Force Physics goes in. They don't get anyone off the high ground just yet. They're going to find anyone here.
Fraud looking to put this one away. Galactic Legend being used, able to pummel down Deus, gets 1 more for good measure, about to make it 3, force them back in the spawn door. Boom Crew, a clean 3, now 4 pickoffs as the convoy nearly where it needs to be. Shikigami completely in tatters, and this would be incredibly fast time for Path here, Vast, one of the quickest we've ever seen.
I mean, here comes the recontest. Day is going to touch, but Unfortunately, no one else is going to make it. There's walls all over the place. They put up the boundaries.
2, 3.
Little under 2 minutes for Boom Crew. That's a very, very fast time.
Which side you're on?
Yeah, it's lightning fast. There's no other way to put it. And I mean, look, for Boom Crew, where you're trying to pick yourself up after a rough 2 maps, right? Like, at some level, your mental not as good as you would like it to be coming into the series, especially if you were underestimating Shikigami because, they weren't ultra present in MRC. But doing a speed run on the path, I feel like that helps a bit, Avast.
It does. It does. I mean, that's the Z Psychology Hour for you. We're going to have the Z Psychology segment come on in every once in a while to discuss the mental status of the squads, but you're definitely right there in that it has to feel good. That's a very good time. I do think teams have just been getting a lot better on offense, on Path of Yggdrasil in general, across the board here in Marvel Rivals Esports. So definitely something that was at times an unassailable last point has been working a lot better for teams, which to be expected. So now the question is, does Boom Crew, they have an offense, do they have a defense here for Path? Do they have an equally strong defense? Are they going to have some up their sleeves? Right now, they're running pretty much a similar comp. No changes. They're not going to play a Storm to try to use the aura on the corner or anything. So Shikigami, just a question of, are they going to stick with this? The spawn doors, they love to lie. Don't trust the Black Widow. Don't trust. They're probably not going to do anything with it.
Maybe take a quick shot and then go back.
Okay.
And
Yeah,
you power up your Magneto a little bit, the team up. Scar going to be able to, get the, by the way, embrace it while it is. That may be the last time you see that team up in a competitive match because it's going away next season.
And it's gone.
And it's gone. But, in the interim, decent amount of space created right now from Shikigami. Moving on forward, Krasbang needs some damage and poke all the while. As the neutral game continues to evolve here, they're a little bit past the choke point. Not the worst here so far. See if Krasbang can land a wall. Hook comes on in. Enemy Groot, Monster, real danger right now as Krasbang gets knocked up 90 HP. Able to survive as Madian gets the backline, takes down Lagva while they were healing Monster. However, BRB gonna get them back to full strength. Sia gonna be dropped. Boom Crew, they're a little bit pummeled, but they're not out of it here just yet. Shikigami still looking for a definitive advantage. Krasbang getting super, super low. And the boundary from Ricky barely hitting in time to keep Shikigami in this fight. It continues. Kudel, though, gonna be able to drop the counter boundary here in a second. Boom Crew, a little bit head on economy. The hook comes in the Krasbang, into the invisible boundary, into the dead Groot. Krasbang gone, and Boom Crew plays that brilliantly there, Avas.
I mean, they definitely played that brilliantly, but you just can see here, even more ultimately invested for the chase. They're just wanting to chase the Crack and Impact as well. The CYA and Spawn, I wanted to talk about the last fight, but there's no time. The fight's still going. They're all the way in the spawn doors. They're way too close. The Vanguard's going down, getting caught. They're going to have the hooks. They're going to have the option to just get more cleanup. I wanted to talk about, I loved what Ricky did there. There's so many clutch plays, but unfortunately for Boom Crew, they chased a little too deep. They invested ults to try to get staggers, and it's really worked against them.
Yeah, I mean, they won, but then they didn't realize that they need to stop winning for a time. Just take the win and leave. Good advice for many areas in life, but in this case, Boom Crew now on the back foot of their own making. Shikigami looking to punish. Now, Galactic Legend in from the top of the Meteor M! Hits 3! Scatter Genji continuing to hit the meatiest Meteor M's you've ever seen.
I mean, those are meaty M's, extremely meaty M's, and even with a really, really smart recontest from Boom Crew, right? Because they make sure to get the Strange so they can portal off one side of all that fire that's coming through, so they get essentially a shield, right? It's an impenetrable shield. They're not going to take any damage, and allows them to get onto the point a bit faster. But in return, they use all their cooldowns to get through. The chase hurts them a lot because then they're all stuck in the corner of death there for Scatter Genji, and now Shikigami holding extremely aggressively. They do have the Strength of the Imprisonment, but so does Monster. So for both sides, have that ult available. No strategist ults up. Maybe just gonna be a dance, looking for the prisons.
And Krasbang has not been shy about looking for prisons, and not shy this time around. Drops it early into fight. However, no eliminations just yet, but it's Fraud. Fraud can't get away. Krasbang, though, in deep trouble. Gets pulled in, able to get back on out. Deus in the chaos, finds Lagvis. And now you just got Shikigami moving forward, forcing the retreat out of Boom Crew, getting more progress on the convoy. But the retreat of Ass is good enough that Boom Crew can come right back into this, and you gotta be looking at Vibrato as he comes on in.
And also, they have the combo. They have the Strength in Prison, they have the Kraken Impact, and still no strategist ults up for Shikigami. Just the CYA, which does not do much to mitigate damage.
They haven't got the point just yet. The Strength of the Prison is out. Here comes Kraken Impact in turn, and Vibrato knocks down what is set up by Monster right at the apex of the second point. Really well executed by the Boom Crew.
It's classic. It's the alley-oop, you know? Realistically, Groot is just kind of like the assist merchant. He's just like, he is the guy. He's the big point. He's the big post guard there for those that know ball. I'm not even, you know, he's set up below the basket, just getting ready every time to set everyone else up. So now, probably screw that up entirely. NBA heads are going to be coming for me. And so now,
I mean, you're done.
Yeah, I'm done. I'm cooked. I'm cooked. He does not know ball. He does not know ball. He does not know ball. Okay?
Matt Burrell is going to be in your inbox in like 5 seconds. You're done, buddy. But here we go. Meteor M dropped on in. Fraud. Dropping the Galactic Legend here. Genji, though, again, Meteor M able to get in the noodle. BRB going to bring him back into the fray. But again, Shikigami setting the pace of battle here once more. Krasmang going to be looking for the prison. Drops the prison over and in. Nick only got one off that. Vibrato, meanwhile, punishes a Madian, and now Boom Crew looking to bring it back the other way in turn. Cracking impact from Vibrato. It's a fall through going to be there, looking for the execute. Needs lower HP than that. Doesn't look like he's going to get it, but hey, in the end, Krasmang ends up falling. Boom Crew gets to move on forward and wipe out Shikigami.
Oh, I mean, this is once again the moment where we talked about how Boom Crew, this is a team that's had a lot of history, they were always been really strong mechanically. You're seeing it here, right? Even if they didn't get max value from those ults, they made sure to pop the CYA late. They're there to hit all those shots, follow up the damage. Because who needs, you know, why even bother with the culling effect of the Kraken Impact when you just have a damage boost and you just finish off those frags anyways? So now Shikigami, they're in a pretty deep, I would not even say decent, a pretty rough spot overall. They're coming in with an Kraken Impact of their own. They are going to have a CYA. They're close to a boundary. This is a very, very important fight because if they commit here and lose, it's gonna be a really tough recontest, maybe with the portal. Might even just be over entirely. So this is the fight to determine the map.
Boom Crew looking to keep themselves alive in the series. All eyes got to be on Monster, the Strangling Prison. Good to go. Boom Crew decide to give up a little bit of space right now. Then they drop the boundary, but the boundary's not in time. Velocity goes on down. Vibrato, though, in turn takes down Deus. Both teams down one here so far. Madian runs afoul of Lagva with diving into the backline, and now Vibrato, room to work with. Moving on in, Kraken Impact good to go. Takes the quick little Groot abduction. And now Scour Genji, Meteor M, not gonna be a huge one this time, as Shikigami loses their footing. Boom Crew holding them back. Only 40 seconds remain now, Vast.
I mean, and now they've had Days go to the Strange to get back faster, to make it here to the point. They don't have a lot of ults on the board. The Galactic Legend used, but can they find anything? They have to find something because they don't find anything. Boom Crew can make it. They can make it back in. They can get back in here with ults.
The problem is they lose Monster. The Galactic Legend ends up splitting Boom Crew as they come back on in. And Deus able to take down Vibrato. Suddenly, things winnable right now for Shikigami. The portal changing the just entire destiny of this fight here so far. It's Deus on the swap, and it's a good one. And now Boom Crew may be locked out. I mean, their group tries to come back in, but it's just simply into the blender. As Shikigami, they stay alive, Avast, but the time bank difference right now, palpable.
What a swap and what aggression from Shikigami. So the portal to make it back in time, they have all that extra aggression knowing the strategy ults aren't up yet for Boom Crew. So they send in a Madian, splitting Boom Crew, and it's put them further with the walls from Krasmang, which means they can isolate those picks. And Boom Crew, they're afraid to invest their ults. They're afraid to commit to the fight. And now it's giving Shikigami some breathing room. It's giving them a chance here to continue the map.
They have a chance, but they're going to have to go through the battering ram of ult to kick this off. Invisible Boundary immediately dropped Fraud, dropping the Galactic Legend, looking for pickoffs into the back. Ricky's Invisible Boundary going to keep Shikigami alive, but Vibrato again able to move over, sets things up with the Kraken Impact. Reset after reset here, Avast, and now only 45 seconds or so remain.
Look at this terrible stagger here for Scatter Genji as well. Dude, oh, it's so bad. They're body blocking. They're like, help me. And then he's gone. Oh man, it's just disastrous. I mean, it's guaranteed a last fight. Guaranteed that this is last fight here. Now, Boom Crew did invest a lot, right? They only have the Meteor M. So Shikigami, their bank is really strong. And also, they don't know that Krasmang got rezzed here. They don't know that Krasmang's behind them. So this could just be an immediate win off the Strangling Prison.
You know, for a tree guy, he's pretty stealthy. Goes into the back, drops Strangling Prison. Hello, says Krasmang, and goodbye, says Days. What a 1-2 punch. The stealth Groot. No one saw it coming, literally.
I mean, the problem there, though, is honestly, I think they overinvested. I think Days did not have to pop the Kraken Impact. I think they potentially would have won. There wasn't strategy ult yet. Maybe some ult tracking situations that maybe went a little wrong there for Shikigami, because they really would have liked to have the Kraken Impact for this fight. They would love to have it later, because Boom Crew have a chance to build up ults.
Gonna have Galactic Legend in early from Amadian, looking for things and gets it. Snipes Fraud out of the sky. Scatter Genji moves on forward. They deal with Monster. The BRB gets a few back up, but Boom Crew right now getting sent back to spawn. Shikigami wanting to keep this one going. Overtime ticking down. The convoy nearly at its final destination. And oh boy, this could be a big one. Scatter Genji hanging on. The Meteor M is good to go. The invisible boundary has been dropped by Boom Crew, but all eyes on Scatter Genji. Big Meteor M's all day long, and that one is a whiff. Doesn't get what he's looking for. Boom Crew still able to turn this one around. Galactic Legend in from Fraud. Finds Daze. Boom Crew looking for their first map win here in our first series. Amadian, though, able to go forward. Krasbang with 2. And Shikigami might be extending this one yet.
I mean, Krasbang just can't be doing this much. I think this is going to be it, CB. I don't think you're going to have to get tested. I think it's going to be capping for Shikigami, sending us in extra rounds. And it is. And Krasbang continues to be, I mean, Boom Crew, they make it back. They use the invisible boundary. Exactly what I thought was going to be a problem there is that they didn't have the Kraken impact, right? They're like, okay, we don't have a finisher. Boom Crew builds up ults. They managed to make it back. But Krasbang again, finding those key limbs to win the fight, even though Vibrato had a Kraken impact coming out late.
Whew, Shikigami staying alive. And yet, I mean, time bank wise, still not an ideal situation. Boom Crew still working with an advantage, but you know, if you're Boom Crew, you kind of think about where this went, where they nearly held them off back at second, and you wonder about lost opportunities where I kind of feel like the theme of the series to an extent has been, you know, Boom Crew having Shikigami down, but as it turns out, they're not out until they're really out, and finishing them off, it's just been a struggle.
It really has. And like, you look at this too, and you see like, okay, Monster's limbs, like when you just do a Groot advantage, because we talk a lot about Krasbang versus Monster. Monster looks really, really good. Like, on paper, these players are looking really strong. If anything, I mean, there's almost more limbs, you know, not necessarily more final hits, more limbs going the way of Monster. But I just feel like Krasbang's impact has been so impressive here. It's impact finds for this player. So now, Shikigami. They have 1 minute CP. They have obviously no ults across the board. We've got a complete reset. It's not domination. It's potentially a one-fight scenario, but wait, look at this. Dinks is on Scarlet Witch as well. They have 2 team-ups there for the Magneto trying to get something early, which, by the way, also another thing you're not going to see again come up to season 2. Yeah. So enjoy it while it lasts.
A little bit of metallic fusion. Maybe the last time you see it. We said that last time, but not really maybe the last time.
Now it really is the last time. Until Boom Crew does it on their offense.
40 seconds to go here. And Boom Crew, I mean, they're playing the choke interestingly. They're being a little bit further back than the average team. A lot on Vibrato right now. Infinite Grit used. How much value are you going to get on here on the Bucky? Are you going to be able to build the Kraken impact early? Instead, you're going to get hooked. Ruin some of your DPS output for sure. Shikigami right now just looking for an edge into the neutral game. Fraud. Over the top right now. Blaster Barrage into the backline of Shikigami. Is going to get people low enough here. The Sia going to be dropped here by Shikigami in turn. Both teams looking for it. Invisible boundary down, but Krasbang takes down his counterpart. Monster gone. BRB brings him back in. But again, Shikigami getting positional advantage off this. And Galactic Legend in from Amadian. Amadian's been so good at judging it and is good once more. Takes down Monster. This time he's not coming back. Gets hooked in and decides to stay. Not really much of his choice, but regardless, gets picked off in turn. The hook evening the scales a little bit, but right now, Krasbang dropping the prison. His fall through's gonna be there, Vast, and this could be a long push indeed.
Oh, Shikigami played that so well. I mean, I thought it looked a little bit risky there for a bit when the hook comes out, finds Amadian there, but they made all that space with the Galactic Legend. Additionally, because of the splits that come up from the wall from Krasbang, they're able to get that pick on the Monster early, even though BRB's up, and then they can drop their Strengthening Prison into the choke, into that door. Now, Boom Crew, they are going to have 4 ults coming up on 5, so it's a pretty strong situation for them here, but Scatter Genji, been someone to watch. Ricky 2 on the strategy. If they can just mitigate some of the value here from these ults, if they can maybe find 1, even 2 from the Meteor M, there's a chance this push keeps happening.
I gotta be looking at Scatter Genji here, see what the deal is gonna be, but here we go. Vibrato, Kraken impact good to go. Meteor M in from Lagva first. Fraud dropping the Galactic Legend, invisible boundary, stymieing him all the way. Krasbang is able to take down Monster. Kirby brings him on back. Shikigami. Meteor M has already been used as Fraud takes down Krasbang, and here we go. Vibrato looking to stop this push here now. Kraken impact used. Resets though, not found here so far. BRB keeping Shikigami in the fight. Both teams still in it. Sia now going to be dropped, and here comes Amadian. Galactic Legend could be huge. Daze gets down 2 while the Legend is popped, and Amadian keeps it ongoing. Shikigami, they do not know the meaning of stopping right now, Avast.
I mean, so well played, the scatter. And I just want to point out something. I'm fairly certain, I feel like we can make it a highlight. I think Krasbang used his wall to block the Strangling Prison from Monster. Because remember, it's a projectile. It is a projectile. You can block it. I think he blocked it, which allowed that fight to potentially just make sure the strat to stay up as a recontest happened here for Boom Crew. They don't have anything. They're going to be walking into the CYA. Dinks could just pop it for free. They could pop the prison. They have a lot of options here. And I mean, they're afraid to get tested. They get walled off. They don't want to commit extra. And Shikigami doesn't have to use anything. And now this push is an extremely long one, ZP.
I mean, this is ridiculous. It's the overtime push that does not end. And now, you just look at Shikigami. They are greedy for more. They have the ult to support a Krasbang getting hooked on in and might say, thank you for the hook on in. I'm going to drop a prison off that. Is the fall through going to be there? Days immediately coming on in. 3 off the Kraken impact so far. The hook that they might not have wanted at all of Ast.
I mean, and they do have the BRB, so Shikigami, they get to stay in the fight. They're going to have a Meteorum. Dink still hasn't used the CYA either. They still have a CYA to use in this fight, and there's not going to be a lot of strategy holds up. I mean, Koodle does not have the invisible boundary yet. If they pop it around the corner, they can potentially just find one right off the bat. It's almost Dink's holding a little bit too long. If anything, as Boom Crew come back in, looking for the recontest. They need to make something happen.
Right now, we're looking at Genji, who's been the biggest baller on Magneto all map long. Can he do it one more time? Galactic Legend pop, Meteor M in turn. Genji takes down Vibrato right then and there. However, Galactic Legend for Fraud hits Pater in the back, gets Ricky. One most important pick you can get, ends up with 2. Fraud coming to life right now. Maybe finally putting an end to the Shikigami push. Right now, chasing Rocket in the back, and that is one squirrely raccoon as you see Rocket just getting out. And the push is finally stopped, but for an overtime push with 1 minute of Ast, this was tremendous from Shikigami.
That's a heinously long push. That's a heinously long push for Shikigami in this situation. And it might have even continued if it wasn't for like a slight bit of a misplay there at the end where Ricky pops the invisible boundary. They're trying to support Amadian, but because of that, they're outside of the radius, right? They're not getting the benefits of that ult. And so they're going to go down. They're going to get caught by Fraud. And overall, still, even with that, Shikigami looked incredibly good. Incredibly good on that offense. Is exactly what the amount of, you love the full cap obviously, but with a minute, that's a really, really strong push. And now that's a ton of pressure on Buku. Yes, they capped with 2 minutes to go on their first offense, but Shikigami looking a bit better, looking potentially maybe more confident now. And there's no guarantee you can just repeat the map again, like, oh yeah, we'll just full cap it again.
Avast, I went through, I reviewed the footage. Mang is the man. Ult denied by a wall. Ridiculous reflexes. He did see the invisible woman shift come out. That could have been a little bit of a heads up, but a perfect counter to keep that run alive.
Okay, and where's my call out for ridiculous casting reflexes for seeing that one? Where's that one?
I feel like you just got the call
Well, you kept like mumbling for 40 seconds between the rounds when I wanted to give you your shout out.
Oh, okay. Okay. He's got to humble me. He can't let me soar too high. Can't let me soar a little bit too high.
Well, I mean, if we let you soar too high, your entire setup would actually collapse right now. Like, if you're actually
soaring. Look at this rocket, fam.
And also Soren, we got Storm Fraud out here for Boom Crew. They don't want to let another map slip away from them after an incredible start. And this time around, though, they lose Monster right away. The neutral game not looking as great for them. This Storm might get swapped real fast here, Vest.
It's just the risk you take, right? You're gonna say like, okay, we try to pop out the Storm, we use that aura to just win a burst fight. I mean, they're still getting a lot of value here. They're close to the Mega Hurricane, so it's definitely working. They're getting value, but Shikigami in return, because of all this AoE damage, look at Dinks, look at Ricky, they already have ults up.
Yeah, and I mean, they might just drop 1 or 2 of them here immediately. Just, again, they can stall time a little bit. Prison's going to be used here by Krasbang. If the fall through going to be there, it is Days on the Vibrato right away. Omega Hurricane now built up here from Fraud, so at this point, you probably stay on the Storm, you probably use it, but you don't like what's happening to your time bank right now if you're Boom Crew.
And also, because Shikigami are playing this really aggressive comp where they're playing triple Vanguard and they have both strategy ults up available, this Omega Hurricane's not that scary. You have 3 beefy tanks, you have 3 beefy players, you have double strategy ult, and they're just gonna have to pop it just to put some pressure on them.
Mega Hurricane can be used here by Fraud. Is gonna get the value they want in turn. They're able to take down 2 right away. It's a massive Hurricane, called Category 5, as Boom Crew is able to break this aggressive hold. But, Vast, with the distance they have to go, it's just step 1. I mean, Shikigami is favored to knock them out right now.
And they're still sticking with the triple Vanguard here. They're going to keep the triple Vanguard. They're going to play it for this fight. They still have an invisible boundary if they want to potentially use it into the Strangling Prison for Monster. But this is the problem, right? Okay, they pop Invisible Boundary. There is going to be the combo. There's the Meteor Emblem available. As the portal comes on out, they're going to make it through. Can they find anyone?
Ricky needs to live. Ricky lives just enough to get the Invisible Boundary. Nearly gets picked off. Meteor M from Scatter Genji. This time, not going to land. And Boom Crew, they're ready for this portal. The collapse on the Shikigami is huge. So absolute disaster for Shikigami on the recontest. Keeps Boom Crew alive.
However, look at the old bank. Look at the tried and true Krazming with the Strangling Prison, Dace with the Kraken Impact. That is the combo here. If they want to try to go for this contest, there's nothing in Boom Crew's bank. They don't even necessarily have to contest. It could be risky. They could just play here for second. That's exactly what we're going to do.
I think they wait too. Like, I don't think you try and engage in the next 15 seconds. I think you just posture and you wait until it's truly final fight. Because you've wiped them out right now. Boom Crew could get back. You don't want that.
So true. So incredibly true. They do not want that. So Shikigami here playing the corner, giving them a little bit of space. Actually, they're giving them maybe a little bit too much space because there's a lot of free fire here coming out from the Infinite Grid. There's a prison. Can't get it. There's the impact.
Yep, and the setup, it is there. Shikigami, they have done it. Boom Crew came in with a lot of expectations, but they hit just the harsh wall of reality. Shikigami making it a 3-0. Boom Crew, who was ahead in map 1, ahead at points in map 3. They could not find a way to finish it off, and Shikigami punishes them all series long.
I mean, this was a... I just have to give so much credit to Shikigami in general. They looked really, really good. This is a team that's kind of been floating around this top team area. They've been, in MRI, out of MRC, in Fight Night, not in Fight Night. And they looked great here. And Boom Crew is a team that has had a lot of history being very, very strong. So it was not a pushover team here. So I have to give a lot of credit to Shikigami. I loved how they played. I really think their front line and their back line. This wasn't just like a duelist show. Because some teams you watch them, Virtus Pro. Right. You watch them and it's just a duelist show. And not to say that the other Virtus Pro players are by any means bad or not good. It's just they just take over that kill feed. They take over the game. And this felt a lot more, front line and back line sided.
Ricky with a lot of pressure tonight. Playing with a raccoon ain't easy always. But they get the job done, both sides with a fair fight. The mirror match goes down, and it's Shikigami walking away with a 3-0 every game. Going some extra rounds, though, ZP. How do you think they're going to fare against 100 Thieves coming up next?
I think here's the problem against 100 Thieves is that they fell behind against Boom Crew a lot, did Shikigami, and they brought it back with fundamentals. I don't think you can give a team like 100 Thieves leads like that and expect 100 Thieves to fumble the ball. It's just not going to happen. So for Shikigami, we need like late game Shikigami to come in at the beginning of every game going to the next series, or it's going to be a quick 3-0 for 100 Thieves.
All right, they were asking us, who do we think deserves the MVP? Avast, you and I are on the same page. It's got to be the Vanguard, the Groot man, Krazman, whatever you want to call him, chat. He's popping off. And one of the highlights earlier, ZP, in their first round on the attack, he throws up a wall, goes down to 12 HP, and then uses the rocket jump pack to fly up in the sky, stays alive just long enough to keep that fight going for another minute 30. It's like small micro movements, small micro thoughts that they're all putting in. The rocket wasn't on the map at the time. They did that earlier in the spawn before the round even kicked off. All right, highlights should be ready at this point. ZP, what was your favorite moment from our MVP, aka Krazman?
I think it'd have to be back on Spider Islands, where you just see Krazman just make the fortress around himself and keep himself healthy under the Psylocke dive that was coming on in. Just, I think really good group play comes down to like how you are manipulating your positioning, how you are giving yourself the absolute best neutral possible. And Krazman, whether it be blocking, ultimates coming in from the opposing Groot, whether it be building the fortress right here at the right time, just made himself incredibly difficult to kill and was able to get key eliminations after.
Just blocking the dance of the butterfly too. And then it's the death box, right? They come in there.
Yep.
And this is what really separates fantastic group players. And you hit on it a bit, Puckett, and same thing for UCP, is the positioning, the micro decisions here with the walls. The walls, they're such a strong part of his kit. And if you can, get value from the Strangling Prison, set up your team repeatedly, be that assist master, which Krazman did often, so often, and just as importantly, made sure to use the walls even defensively in terms of blocking ults, blocking healing. Like, this is something that a group player at the top level can get an incredible amount of value from.
And this is going to make our next match very exciting. Vinny, known for his group play, will Krasbang be able to run his ideal hero? Dominant performance on one of the best vanguards in season 1. It all changes tomorrow as we welcome Emma Frost to the world.
Yeah, also that final clip there, my goodness, the stealth Groot where you just don't realize that he's resurrected in your backline. That was also a thing of beauty. But yeah, I mean, you look at our day here today, Royal Beamer surprising LG, nearly taking them down. LG getting a map off Virtus Pro. Will 100 Thieves be the next team to be shaken here? You know, most people would say it's unlikely, but as time has proven, anything can happen here on Rivals Fight Night.
We have 100 Thieves super fan. Shout out to my guy, Lawyer448, saying, Shiki ain't no Sentinels, bro. We're going to roll them like a quick play. Speaking of, that is our next matchup. It's for $1,000. 100 Thieves taking on Shikigami. Thanks for watching. This is Rivals Fight Night.